Hello, sir. Can you hear me? Hello, sir.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Sir, am I visible, sir?
Yeah, I think you are. You can
Just a
sit
minute, sir.
you can sit at a place and then we can talk. Okay. Cool. How are you,
Yes,
Pankaj?
sir, I'm fine, sir.
Cool. Nice to meet you.
Yes.
So Pankaj,
Sir, I'm fine, sir.
yeah. So
Yes,
Pankaj,
sir.
what I want you to do is for next 10 minutes, if you can tell me about yourself, your background, and also tell me what's your interest are, and most importantly, if you can talk about what are your questions, okay? And then we can follow up from
Yes,
there.
sir.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Sure, sir. Sir, I am Pankaj Kumar Raut and I'm currently based in Odisha, India. Okay, sir. And I'm now currently pursuing MSc Physics from SOA University. Okay, sir. And the few questions I've asked are regarding my own career. So first of all, my interest, I think, sir, in these recent times, I have found my interest, I think, in the semiconductor domain. Okay, sir.
Mhm.
And I think where I can see that in the next year, sir, I want to go in that career field. Okay, sir, in the semiconductor field. Whatever, as I mentioned, sir, again I want to know that what I should do so that my career prospect are better in this domain. And the second thing is that's what project I should do and where I should and how shall I get the project and internship and all. And these are the things. And the third things I mentioned, sir, that sometimes I have doubt of my own. I'm a doubt on my own that whether I'm good at this or not. Sometimes there is a doubt in myself. Yes, sir.
Okay. So I will go through your question one by one. The first question I think you have is your if I understood correctly that your interest is in semiconductors, but you are
Yes,
currently
sir.
pursuing your master's in physics, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And so your question is how can you switch, if I understood
Switch. Yes,
correctly, or how can you gain that knowledge of semiconductors because that's what
yes,
you would like to pursue as a career, correct?
yes, sir.
So, so let me ask you, what's your interest right now? What are you doing, and when you are doing your master's in physics, what are you studying?
It's not yet started, sir. The college has not yet started because this is the first year itself, and we have completed our bachelor's, and we are yet to join our masters, sir. And this is the time in between.
Yeah. But my point here is, have you given it a thought that what you would like to do when you start your masters? What would you like to do when or what are the subjects topics that you would be studying?
Yes, sir. All the subjects and topics, sir, that are mentioned in the syllabus and itself. And sir, there is an elective subject part. Okay, sir. And in that field, where I'm choosing is that semiconductor and all. There is always elective part, and I'm thinking that I will choose that elective because as I told you, as I'm interested in that part. So I'll choose that an elective for my subject, and that is what I'm planning, sir. Trying now, I'm trying to cover up the basic fundamentals of that subject and like the crystal theory and all, from the solid state physics and everything that is necessary. The basics I'm trying to cover up in this time. This and I
Okay.
and I think
Yeah.
I'll do better if I cover the basics. Yes.
So so Pankaj, I will tell you a couple of things. Okay. I think your masters in physics and semiconductors have a very important relation. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So for example, I will give you three examples. One is um, or three topics that you want to study very hard or gain knowledge when you are doing your masters in physics. One is on quantum mechanics. Okay.
Yes, sir.
The second one is, as you mentioned, solid state physics, and third one is on electrodynamics. These three, I think, are the most
Yes,
important
sir.
topics in my opinion. One, the reason I said quantum mechanics because In quantum mechanics, you study the behavior of matters and energy at the atomic and subatomic level, right? and
Yes,
and and it's very important for someone to have that knowledge, and have the understanding of the properties of semiconductors. And I mean, I'm pretty
yes,
sure you have studies quantum physics, where they talk about the band gap, right? What is the energy difference between the valence band and the conductive band, and so forth. So I think this is going to be an important topic, and so you should gain important knowledge, gain more knowledge in that area. Or if you have an
yes,
elective in quantum mechanics other than your core subject or any related to that, try to take those subjects. Okay, that's number one.
yes, sir.
Okay, number two, as you mentioned, solid state physics. I think this is the very, very important topic for any person who wants to understand what semiconductors is all about, right? So what solid
Yes,
state physics is, right? Solid state physics is basically you are studying the physical properties of solids, right? So you are understanding the structures and the properties of semiconductors materials, such as how the electrons move through them and so forth. So that sort of a knowledge is going to be vital for you to understand, gain knowledge about semiconductors. And third, as you said, is
yes,
there,
sir.
I think electrodynamics would be a good one, where you probably would gain much more knowledge about the electric and magnetic fields and so on. And probably that allows you to help you understand the behavior of semiconductors,
Yes, sir.
in such as diodes, or transistors and so forth. So
Yes,
I think semiconductor devices are very much driven by the advancement in the physics. So you are at the right
yes,
place,
sir.
in my opinion, to do that. Make sure when you study your masters, take those
Yes,
subjects
sir.
and read them thoroughly, study them thoroughly,
Yes,
right?
yes, sir.
I will tell you one thing is that
Yeah.
people who have a very strong background in physics, they are highly desirable in semiconductors industry. It's just not the engineers.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I
Yeah.
think what you are planning to do, what you want to do, and they are very well aligned, in my opinion. All you have to do is now
Yes,
study those topics very, very thoroughly and very, very hard.
sure, sir.
And and if,
Sir, I'm already pursuing, sir. Yes, sir.
yeah, yeah, and
Sir, I'm already
yeah, yeah, and as
continue.
I
You
said,
continue.
if you get to do your master's thesis or your project, make sure you take a topic that is very close to semiconductor industry,
Sure, sir. Yeah.
and do that. And once you do that, I think you would be able to achieve what you are thinking, in my opinion. And after you finish your masters, two things can happen. One, you may be able to get a job in a semiconductor industry, or second, you can then go to do your PhD in more applied field. For example, you can do your PhD in electronics engineering, right? So that will be more applied, rather
More
than
application.
rather than more, I would say, theoretical,
Yeah.
right? So I think you
Yes,
you are you are at the right path to pursue your goal. And I will tell you one thing is, for you to say that I am interested in working in a semiconductor field, and this is what I want to do. I think it's very important, because the world is looking into semiconductors. The future is semiconductors.
yes.
So whether it is India or whether it is abroad, everybody is looking into people who have expertise in semiconductor industry.
Sorry, sir. Sir, one
So
more query I have. Yes, sir, one more query I have, sir, that I have heard in, sir, most of the my fellow batchmates and seniors that I have asked, sir, when they have got the project, sir, I asked them that how they get the project done, projects and the internship. Sir, I also want one. Sir, but they told that you have to read the research papers. So they give me a tip. Okay, that you have to go to the research papers of the field that you are interested in. Sir, but the thing is here is when I go through the research paper, I am not able to grasp the content because they are somewhat much higher than my level. Sir, how to deal with this? Because I really want to participate in a project so that I gain the first-hand experience of how these semiconductors these things are made.
Yeah, but Pankaj, what you are telling me is very normal for any person who has just started to study, or who has just started to work in this field. This is very normal.
Yes,
But
sir.
my only advice would be is keep reading it. See, one thing you have to understand: if you don't know the fundamentals, you will not be able to understand the papers, because research papers are more advanced,
Yes, sir.
right? So first you have to understand the fundamentals.
Yeah.
You understand my point?
Yes, sir. Yes,
So,
sir. Yes,
so, 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 what I'm trying to tell you is, because you are just starting your masters, and you have not taken these some of these fundamental courses. Once you finish doing it, taking that, you will realize that you are able to understand these papers much better, and it's very normal.
yes, sir.
But that doesn't mean
Yes,
you should stop reading those papers. First thing anybody do is they read books because they are fundamental. Then you read
yes,
research
sir.
papers.
Yes,
So, for example, I will give you an example. For example, if there is there is a paper, research paper, that is talking about the properties of semiconductors, right? They are talking about these bands in semiconductors. They are talking about new types of transistors or new type of diodes or things like that, right? If you have no idea how these things work, how they function, even at the fundamental level, you will not be able to understand the research paper who are more advanced. So first, read books. First thing what you have to do is read books, clear your fundamentals so that you are able to understand those papers. Okay?
sure, sir. Sure, sir.
Yeah. So, and after that, once you
Okay.
do that, you will be able to understand all these papers much more easily. Don't worry about them at all. If you are not able to do it now, it's very simple because you don't have fundamentals.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, and
So, yes, sir.
yeah, go ahead.
Sir, the last question I had is that, sir, sometimes that I have a bit of doubt about myself that whether I'm good for this subject or not. Because sometimes the physics, the things that get more and more mathematical, and I try to convince myself that yes, I can do it, but there is also a factor of doubt that whether I'm good at this subject or not, or have I made a wrong choice of my career. This sometimes it happens to me, sir. How to get over it.
Yeah. So Pankaj, the in my personal opinion, the only time you get demotivated, or you feel like you don't know anything about this particular topic, or how you will do it, is essentially boils down to because you don't have the knowledge of that field. It's like, I will give you an example. It's like if I ask you to play rugby, but you only know how to
Yes,
play table tennis. You will not be able to play rugby. You have to know the rules of that game. You have to know the how the game is played. What how many players are in that field? How the strategy that is decided in rugby. My point here is, as I said to you again, that if you are not going to clear your fundamentals and directly you're gonna jump on the research papers, that's gonna demotivate you. You have to read books. So, for example,
yes, sir.
if you are trying to learn data science and you don't know anything about statistics, you will not able to understand the fundamentals of data science. You have to study statistics. You just can't pick a book on data science and say, I'm going to learn data science today. No, you have to go step by step. You understand my point? So what I'm trying to tell you is the nervousness or demotivation and all these factors only come in if your fundamentals are not clear and you're trying to jump, you're just trying to jump to step 10 where you have not even known what step 1 is. It's like you're trying to read a novel and you have no idea what alphabets are. So how you will understand the big novels? There's no way you can do that. Your
Understood, sir.
fundamentals, your basic fundamentals has to be clear. If, let me tell you, if you are doing masters in physics and you cannot understand the basic physics of class 11th and 12th, then you should not be doing masters in physics. Okay, it's very simple. You, as a master's student who as a master's student in physics, you should be able to teach you should be able to teach a class 12th student quantum mechanics of class 12th. If you are not able to do it, then yes, you are at a wrong place, no doubt. So you have to decide that. That means your fundamentals for class 11th and class 12th are not clear, right? So make sure you make that judgment, because then that you, of course it will be a problem for you. And there is no magic wand there. There is no magic. I would say, if that is the case, I hope it's not, but if that is the case, you should first go back and study class 11th and class 12th books of physics. You should go back, you should pick a
Sir,
book.
sir, they're,
So that's what I'm
sir, they're
saying.
clear.
And you will be fine. If that's what I'm saying, and that it will be fine, because I can tell you, for the class 12th quantum mechanics book, if you take a really good book of class 12th which talks about quantum mechanics, I think that book is sufficient enough for anybody to teach about semiconductors and teach about basic about quantum mechanics. There's a lot of knowledge there. And there are some students who are so interested in physics that by class 12 they already finished the bachelor's and undergrad books of physics. That's also true, right? So my advice to you is, make sure your fundamentals are clear before you jump into advanced books and research papers and all those, because you're not able to understand them at all, and then you will be frustrated and everything will bounce back from your head. Don't make that mistake. Okay. Hello.
I'm sorry, sir. There is a internet blackout here, sir. I'm sorry. There is a
No.
internet.
Yeah, anything else, Pankaj?
Yes, sir. That much, sir. You answered all my questions, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, cool. I think, as I said, Pankaj, I think your thought process, if I understood you correctly, your thought process in the right direction.
Yes, sir.
You are thinking in the right direction, but thinking is not enough. You have to act. I think this time, what I feel like, you really need to act, get into books, and once you do that, your thought process, that your way of thinking is correct. You are thinking in the right direction. So I'm very impressed by that. But just be focused on understanding the fundamentals, and take out the books. Start from class 12th. Take your undergrad books or your bachelor's books or whatever it is on all these topics and read them very hard. You will be fine. Okay. Okay, Pankaj. It was nice talking to you, man. I will keep in touch. Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir.